Hey everybody, a video today on the Great Pyramid, and I've been wanting to make this video I suppose for a while. I've mentioned this in other videos, and this is one of the main reasons why I make videos is because the standard model history is highly inaccurate in a lot of cases, and when it involves the granddaddy of all archaeological sites, Great Pyramid, and we have just been sold a load of crap as far as the time it was built. I think this needs to be talked about, and today is the day, so I just want to fly us into the Great Pyramid here, and I want to go over the reasons why, in my own opinion, I think this is the remnants of a prior civilization. This is the greatest building ever built. No other building has ever been built on Earth that has incorporated mathematics, the sheer size of it, archaeoastronomy, sound, vibration. It's a geodetic marker that tells you where you are on the Earth, how big the Earth is, and the rotation of the Earth. This was done by minds that we just cannot relate to. This civilization went down a whole different path as our civilization. They were highly spiritual, they were free energy, they were into the Earth's energy. Highly unlike today's world where it's a materialistic, dirty, energy burning culture. But I just want to give the facts on why I think this is the remnants of a prior civilization. So I'm just going to go into those right now. Here we are down on Street View on the north side of the Great Pyramid, and obviously to be right there would be absolutely incredible. Just one of these few ton blocks would be impressive to be next to, but next to a building made out of millions of them, I'm sure would be pretty awe-inspiring. Here we see in the top part of the picture where the pyramid was entered for the first time. It was sealed, totally sealed up in antiquity, and maybe that's where we get the term hermetically sealed from Hermes, who was the ancient, or the Greek's version of the ancient Egyptian god Thoth. But I just wanted to point that out. But one of the main reasons why this was done by a prior civilization is what we don't see, and there are only a few of the casing stones left, but here you see at the bottom these very smooth limestone blocks that covered the whole pyramid. A long time ago, this pyramid shone like a star. I'm sure during the daytime with the sun gleaming off it, it showed, and even in the bright moonlight, I'm sure it glowed just like the stars, and that's why another reason why I think they are in the shape of Orion's belt, the three pyramids of Giza. But these casing stones, other pyramids were not made like this. They were not nearly as large, they were not as technical, and what we see today is actually just the skeleton of what this building actually was. It's like a body being left out in the desert for many years. All you would have left is a skeleton, and the initial form you really wouldn't see. But this was covered in white limestone, and we really don't know what was taken out of the interior of it. But all we have left is this great shell or skeleton of this great monument, and just that is impressive enough. But I just wanted to show you those casing stones down here, and this is how we know what the angle of the Great Pyramid is from these few remaining casing stones that began to fall off in a big earthquake, and the residents of Cairo took the outer limestone blocks and took them down to Cairo and used them in buildings today. But I just thought I would show you that. Plus, around the base here, there was obviously a great floor put in around the Great Pyramid. But I just wanted to show you the north side there real quick. Now, what else makes this pyramid unique? The builders of this were so advanced that they incorporated something into it that even our eyes did not discover until 1940. Now, I'm going to play a clip from Bill Donahue. I like listening to Bill, and this is a clip I used in an Emerald Tablets of Thoth video, and I'll leave that link below. But here's Bill Donahue talking about something we did not discover about the Great Pyramid until 1940.
I'm going to show you a picture looking down from an airplane at the Great Pyramid, Jim. The concave faces of the Great Pyramid, aerial photo by Groves. Groves was a Navy pilot who took this first picture. It was in 1940. Okay? Now let's read together what J.P. Lepre said about the Great Pyramid. One very unusual feature of the Great Pyramid is a concavity of the core that makes the monument an 8-sided figure. That's in his book, The Egyptian Pyramids, a comprehensive illustrated reference. An 8-sided figure rather than 4-sided like every other Egyptian pyramid. That is to say that its 4 sides are hollowed in or indented along with their central lines from base to peak. This concavity divides each of the apparent 4 sides in half, creating a very special and unusual 8-sided pyramid, and it is executed to such an extraordinary degree of precision as to enter the realm of the uncanny.
Here we are on the east side of the Great Pyramid, and you see here some of the cornerstones have been hauled off for building structures in Cairo. You see something going underground here. I believe there's a vast system of tunnels going underneath the Great Pyramid, and we're really never going to know, as long as the current state of Egyptology is in place. We're never going to truly know all there is to know about these tunnel systems under the Great Pyramid. But I just wanted to show you that. But Egyptologists, Zahi Hawass, Mark Lehner, and others, they will tell you that this magnificent structure was built in the 4th dynasty by Khufu. And I just want to show you something here. And they tell you that these other pyramids were built right before and in the periods following Khufu. And this is what the remains of those pyramids look like today. This is what's left from 3,000-4,000 years ago. And we have this one popping up in the 4th dynasty, and we got these down at Abu Sir, and this one, the Pyramid of Senreset, Pyramid of Sahari, and I believe this is Jeffrey's pyramid, maybe. But we have all these pyramids right before, right after, and we have this one, 4th dynasty. I mean, they could put this on Sesame Street and the little kids could pick out which thing doesn't belong. I mean, the fact that they actually want us to believe that it was built in the 4th dynasty is absolutely ridiculous. Look at this. These are all we have left of the pyramids. But in the 4th dynasty, they were so amazing that they built this one that has stood the test of time, and nobody else could even come close to this majestic building. This is laughable. Let's go back to Google Earth here. And one thing I wanted to show you on this side of the pyramid, in case you followed my videos when I talked about how a lot of the Bible came from Egypt, and I believe numbers have been encoded into the Bible, especially the number 40. The Great Pyramid is a 40 times replica of pi. That is why 40 pops up all over the Bible. And, let me back up here. Sorry about that. But this area out here, there is a reference to Mount Sinai, that one of the bases was like the heavens, or another interpretation, the night sky. And this is the great black basalt floor on the outside of the Great Pyramid. And I believe that verse in the Bible, I should have had that pulled up and ready to go, but this is the great black basalt flooring that was covered the whole side of this one side of the pyramid, and I believe that is referred to in a biblical verse. But just wanted to show you the east side here and show you those other pyramids, and just the laughable theory that this was built in the 4th dynasty. Now, how do the Egyptologists relate the Great Pyramid to Khufu? Well, it happens to be this cartouche right here that has the name of Khufu. It was found high up in a relieving chamber, which is right in the middle here, which is basically an attic of the Great Pyramid. These great pharaohs that had these tremendous egos and put their name and their cartouche all over the monuments they built. This supposed tomb for Khufu. Doesn't have his image or scarab or cartouche anywhere in the Great Pyramid except for this one thing that was found high up in a relieving chamber. This is really the basis of their whole theory, and that is just laughable. Also, right outside of the Great Pyramid, this is the south side. But this is, I believe, the Solar Boat Museum. There was a boat here, a boat of Khufu's, and the Egyptologists won't even think that maybe this boat of Khufu's was buried outside the Great Pyramid just to attach his legacy to the Great Pyramid. They won't even consider that. And another thing, Egyptologists won't even look to the stars to get some of the answers. They study this great civilization whose whole basis almost of their civilization was based on the stars. Egyptologists such as Zahi Hawass and Mark Lehner won't even look to the stars. That is absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to play a clip from Graham Hancock in a second where you can tell his frustration has been going back a long time. Now, this is Ancient Origins, and they talk about all the mathematics built into the Great Pyramid. I can't go over all of it, but obviously starting with the base side being 365.24 cubics, the exact number of days a year, all the way to the distance to the sun and other things. But I have had comments recently wanting to explain the 43,200 number and how that relates the Great Pyramid to the size of the earth, and there were some questions kind of, couldn't this be done with any monument and any number? But I just want to play a clip from Graham Hancock where it goes over this fact, and this is really sealing the deal as far as a prior civilization building the Great Pyramid. So this is Graham Hancock talking about that number 43,200, and I'll be back in a second.
I'm going to need to explain this in a little bit of detail. Involves some numbers. When you take the height of the Great Pyramid and multiply it by a particular value, by 43,200, you get an exact printout of the polar radius of the Earth. And when you take the base perimeter of the Great Pyramid and multiply it by that same value, 43,200, you get a printout of the equatorial circumference of the Earth. The sun on the spring equinox very slowly changes, and it takes 2,160 years exactly for the sun to pass entirely through one sign of the zodiac. That's what the old song about living in the dawning of the age of Aquarius is to do with. Aquarius will soon be housing the sun on the spring equinox as a result of the phenomenon of precession. Now, if you take 2,160 and multiply it by 20, you get 43,200. Which is the scale used in the pyramid-Earth ratio. And we think that it was very deliberately used to signal what this monument is, one of its functions. They wanted to build a monument that was very massive and that no reversion to barbarism could destroy, and which was a mathematical scale model of the northern hemisphere of the Earth. They needed a scale on these criteria somewhere between 1 to 40,000 and 1 to 50,000. And they chose 1 to 43,200 because it's a significant scale, because their mathematical model of the Earth was keyed in to the Earth itself by the scale used, keyed in to the characteristic signature of the Earth, the rate of precession of its axis, 43,200 being connected mathematically to the rate of precession. The intention was that in a future time, an astronomically literate civilization would be able to work out the cleverness that went into the design of this monument. What those ancient pyramid builders did not reckon with was that the site would be monopolized for 150 years by a group of intellectual barbarians called Egyptologists, who cannot accept under any circumstances that any intelligent behavior of this sort could have been connected to the last surviving wonder of the ancient world.
All right, what Mr. Hancock did not show you is this. How many hours in a day? There are 24. How many minutes in an hour? There are 60. How many seconds in a minute? There are 60. That equals 86,400. Divided in half equals that magic number of 43,200. Not only did they incorporate the measurements of the Earth, but the time and the rotation of the Earth. We are living amongst the ruins of a prior civilization, folks, and the Great Pyramid is the best example of this. Hope you thought this was interesting. Have a nice day.